Know the top stories of the day. Understand the issues that matter. This is Manila Bulletin News on Web. Your quick rundown of top news in the country and around the world. Manila Bulletin, celebrating 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. Be fully informed. Hi, I'm Barbie Atenza. This is MB Now, and here are your news on web. 2 Filipinos were killed and 11 others were injured in the 2 massive explosions that rocked the port of Beirut in Lebanon, the Department of Foreign Affairs announced this morning. According to DFA, the Filipinos who died were in their employers' homes when the explosion occurred. The Philippine Embassy in Beirut continuously monitoring the development of the situation and is ready to provide assistance to Filipinos affected. The Tuesday blast in Beirut sent a giant mushroom cloud into the sky, flattening much of the port and damaging buildings covering a wide radius of the city. Lebanese authorities are still investigating the cause of the explosion. For updates, here are the contact details of our Philippine Embassy in the capital of Beirut. The government will tap policemen as contact tracers and track down those who have been in contact with COVID-19 patients. According to Palace spokesperson Harry Roque, the said formula was used in the city of Baguio and made a success in managing the effects of the virus. Martin Sadongdong has this report.
The police force will be very visible the entire time the National Capital Region and nearby provinces are under modified enhanced community quarantine. In a televised interview, Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said the government will tap policemen as contact tracers and track down those who have been in contact with COVID-19 patients. Roque said this was the formula used by Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong, who was successful in managing the effects of virus in their city by tapping policemen to track COVID-19 carriers and their contacts. Roque added that the move to tap cops as contact tracers would help the government to save money and use it to hire non-police personnel to fill in most of the 150,000 contact tracer slots being asked by the Department of Health. Meantime, the commander of Joint Task Force COVID Shield, Police Lieutenant General Guillermo Elazar, said police commanders in MECQ areas were also instructed to beef up their visibility and patrol activities in public markets and other places of convergence for the enforcement of stricter quarantine rules. Elazar explained that the visibility of both the police and LGU enforcers is important in compelling the people to follow the minimum health safety standard protocol.
Actually, simula na mag-start tayo ng ating quarantine period, March 17, minomonitor natin yung everyday na ating na-accost, and so far as of yesterday, we have accosted 293,175 na violators. Pero syempre, ilan ba naman milyon, daang milyon tayo, di ba? But the point of this is that meron tayong mga quarantine rules, talagang ito ating ini-implement. And half of this naman, or sinasabi nga natin na 50% dito or 144,000, binigyan na namin ng mga warning. Pero recently nga, isipin mo 140 days na tayo. Kung tayo ba naman is patuloy pa rin mag-warning sa kanila, even though during adjustment, binibigyan ng konsiderasyon, maximum tolerance, pero the point is, kailangan talaga sumunod na sa kanila.
For MB Now, this is Martin Sadongdong reporting.
The Philippines has started its trial for the anti-flu drug Avigan, an oral antiviral drug donated by Japan to the Philippine government. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeria previously said the government has in its possession about 199,000 Avigan tablets, which they intend to use to COVID-19 patients after concluding the review. In a recent Palace press briefing, Department of Science and Technology Secretary Fortunato de la Peña confirmed that clinical trials for Avigan are already ongoing together with other trials for 3 other natural products. Last May, President Duterte announced that the advancing health through evidence-assisted decisions with health policy and system research of the DOH has identified 3 sites for the trials of Avigan for around 80 to 100 patients. The government has allocated 18 million pesos for the monitoring of the clinical trial and other expenses related to the tests. Avigan is manufactured by a subsidiary firm of Fujifilm Holdings Corporation and is an oral antiviral drug known by its generic name Favipiravir.
Meron tayong mga sinusubukang mga natural products, kabilang dyan ang ang BCO, ang Lagundi at Tawa-Tawa. Yung pong sa BCO ay yun lamang sa Santa Rosa Community Hospital ang ongoing. Hinahantay pa po namin makaumpisa yun sa PGH para sa mga severe cases. Pero doon po sa ginawa namin, out of 90 targeted participants, 30 po pa lang po ang aming nakukuha. At pero doon po sa 30 po na yon, medyo maganda naman po ang indications. Kaya lang hindi pa kami makapag-conclude kasi hindi pa kumpleto yung study. Yung pong remdesivir, maganda rin na indications at ang aking nabalitaan ay nag-iipon na ng stock ang DOH para sa remdesivir. Meron pa pong ongoing trial sa Avigan. Ito naman po yung dinonate ng Japanese government at inihintay din natin matapos ang mga resulta.
A lawmaker has called on the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation to expand its coverage of dialysis sessions for the elderly up to 144 days amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Senior Citizens Party List Representative Francisco Datol Jr. led the filing of House Resolution number 1054, urging the PhilHealth to take a second look at its circular number 22-2015, which provides that only 90 dialysis sessions with a case rate of 2,500 pesos are covered by the government's health insurance firm per year. Datol said PhilHealth should consider the condition of senior citizens with kidney disease, given that they are disproportionately at risk of becoming a fatality of COVID-19. Metro Pacific Tollways Corporation will make necessary adjustments in its operations on the North Luzon Expressway, despite the shortage in manpower after some of its personnel tested positive for COVID-19. They also want to make sure their expressway facilities are hygienic and is above par in terms of following health protocols. Argil Getucos tells us more.
The North Luzon Expressway is able to make necessary adjustments, specifically with its people manning the tollways after they felt the motorists' wrath on social media during the snarling traffic middle of last month. In an interview with MB Now, Metro Pacific Tollways Corporation President Rodrigo Franco admitted that they had to deal with the shortage in manpower when 4 of their 78-man strong tollway personnel tested positive for the coronavirus.
Yun nga, ang affected, sabihin natin, for lang, but yung number of people that you have to put on quarantine nasa 78, no? And not only that, you do it na parang once you get a report na merong infected na employee na sa kasamang palad na infect, puro mild naman ang time na yan.
NLEX had to scale down their cash lanes last July 16 from 20 to 14 as management had to immediately follow protocols to avoid more infections among their employees. This led to the monstrous traffic jam at the Bocaue Southbound Toll Plaza, which slowly went back to normal after all of the 78 NLEX personnel who went into quarantine eventually recovered. Franco said they have now slowly adjusted to the new normal in their operations as they make sure their expressway facilities are hygienic and is above par in terms of following health protocols.
Of course, part of the new normal is making sure na yung ating mga expressway facilities are hygienic, malinis sila, na pag nag-stop over ka sa any of our facilities in NLEX, even sa office namin, hindi ka matatakot na magkakaroon ng infection. Nandoon lahat ng health protocols. Our employees na makakasalamuhan ng mga customers are may proper PPE, may naka-proper attire. No?
Meantime, the Bulacan Philippine National Police have set up 12 control points for NLEX in an effort to intensify the monitoring of movements during the entire Modified Enhanced Community Quarantine in the entire NCR and few other neighboring provinces. For MB Now, this is Argil Getucos reporting.
In Metro News, IATF suspends public transport in Cavite. Pateros Mayor alarmed by growing number of COVID-19 cases. And Quezon City Barangay only allows mothers to get quarantine passes. More from this report.
The Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Disease suspended public transportation in the province of Cavite in accordance with the modified Enhanced Community Quarantine Guidelines. Governor John Vic Remulla earlier announced that he was allowing public transportation to assist Cavite's 200 factory workers with the manufacturing sector's continuous operation under MECQ. In his Facebook post, Remulla said that it is a very unwise decision, but he will respect the decision of the IATF. Cavite has suffered a surge in coronavirus disease cases over the past 2 months, linked to residents going to the National Capital Region for work and other engagements. Pateros Mayor Miguel Ponce III has expressed alarm over the increasing number of coronavirus disease cases in the municipality as he urged his constituents to stay home. As of August 4, Pateros has recorded 270 confirmed COVID-19 cases with 112 recoveries and 7 deaths. Ponce said Barangay Santa Ana, the most populous barangay in Pateros with 28,217 residents, has 58 active cases and is now included in the list of COVID-19 hotspots in the National Capital Region. The municipality also imposed a new curfew hours from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. as MECQ is ongoing in Metro Manila. Food delivery and authorized workers are exempted from the curfew. A barangay in Quezon City is only allowing female residents, particularly mothers, to get quarantine passes following the return of Metro Manila to modified Enhanced Community Quarantine. Based on an order issued by Barangay Matandang Balara Captain Alan Franza, each family will once again get quarantine pass to be used when going outside to buy provisions and medicines. However, mga ilaw ng tahanan or only mothers will be given quarantine passes. Several social media users have called out the order and said that it is against the Anti-Discrimination Ordinance of the Quezon City. They also expressed their concern that some male residents are living alone and some mothers cannot go outside for being more prone to catching the coronavirus disease. But the barangay explained that the order will be on a case-to-case basis.
Here are the top news in other parts of the country. Baguio City Hall on a lockdown. 2,547 OFWs back home in Caraga region. And Surigao del Norte Governor appeals to NPA to release police officer. More in this report.
The Baguio City Hall and the President Fidel V. Ramos Gym, which serves as processing venue for requiring travel permit, were closed Wednesday after 16 new cases of coronavirus disease were recorded on Tuesday. According to Mayor Benjamin Magalong, 3 City Hall personnel assigned at the gym have tested positive for COVID-19. As a safety precaution, Magalong also closed City Hall to the public until Thursday, August 6th and will allow only a limited number of workforce to ensure continuity of operations. He also called on persons who visited the City Hall and the gym from July 29 to August 4 to go on self-quarantine and seek medical attention at the onset of any symptoms. A total of 2,547 overseas Filipino workers have made it home in their respective provinces in northeastern Mindanao as of August 4, according to the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration in the region. The OFWs were sent home through a series of chartered and sweeper flights of Philippine Airlines from Manila, Cagayan de Oro City, and Davao City. The OFWs were properly supervised in their arrival by the regional staff and personnel of OWA and other concerned line agencies of the government. Surigao del Norte Governor Attorney Francisco T. Matugas on Wednesday appealed to the Communist Party of the Philippines New People's Army Northeastern Mindanao Regional Committee to release Staff Sergeant Resty R. Dandan, who they abducted last July 31. In an initial progress report from the Caraga Police Regional Office 13 headquarters, it was stated that the victim was forcibly taken by an undetermined number of suspected NPA rebels in Barangay San Isidro, Season Town, Surigao del Norte on July 31. The provincial government is now closely coordinating with the staff and personnel of the provincial and municipal peace and order councils for the proper coordination with the hostage takers. Until now, the rebels has not issued any statement regarding the status of the abducted police officer.
Let's have a quick roundup of world news. Brazil firefighters race to contain wetland blazes. Forest fire in southern France triggers evacuations. And Latvian man first to row over or across South Pacific. More details in this report.
A tractor cuts a firebreak to the vegetation of the Pantanal, the world's biggest tropical wetlands, as firefighters race to contain the blazes that have been devastating one of the most biodiverse regions on Earth. The Brazilian Pantanal suffered a record of 1,682 fires last month, triple the number from July 2019 according to satellite images. It was the worst month on record for fires in the region, which sits on the southern edge of the Amazon rainforest and stretches from Brazil into Paraguay and Bolivia. Firefighters have been working around the clock to contain the blazes with the help of residents of the city of Pucón and the surrounding area. A forest fire Tuesday ravaged 800 hectares of vegetation near the southern French city of Marseille, forcing the evacuation of over 200 people, officials said. There were no casualties thus far from the blaze that broke out west of Marseille, as 1,200 firefighters and water-bombing planes were deployed to fight the flames. Some 225 people, mostly tourists and campers, were evacuated by a boat to a nearby fishing village and then taken by bus to makeshift shelters in the town of Martigues. Part of a highway from Marseille to Martigues has been closed. As the first person to row solo across the South Pacific, extreme adventurer Carlos Baldelis has some valuable tips on how to cope with the isolation that millions across the globe are learning to live during the coronavirus pandemic. He started rowing solo across the Pacific last July 2018. All he has in a small cabin are clothes, food, and some equipment supplies for a day-to-day journey. According to Carlos, it took him almost 2 years to travel from Peru to Malaysia. He had fun seeing a lot of dolphins, sharks, whales, turtles, and a lot of wildlife in the sea on the course of his long journey. Every day on his trip, he just wake up, eat his breakfast, and manually row the sea for 12 hours. And lastly, his great tip, enjoy the trip and be optimistic.
In entertainment, K-pop artist Im Shu-long of boy band 2AM is under police investigation after he hit and killed a pedestrian who was reported to be jaywalking in South Korea last Sunday. According to the police, the car accident happened at about 11:50 p.m. last Saturday on a road to Yunpyong-gu, Seoul. The 33-year-old Shu-long was driving an SUV amid heavy rain when he hit the 50-year-old who was crossing at a red light, according to Korean media. The victim was taken to a hospital but died. The police found that Shu-long was not under the influence of alcohol when the accident happened. A 16-year-old Filipina, an aspiring artist named Mary Ashley Entrina, is this year's grand champion vocalist in the world for senior division at the recently concluded World Championships of Performing Arts, or WCOPA. Mary said she did not expect to win because it's her first time to join a singing contest. She also added that many of the other WCOPA artists are already professional artists from all over the world. This year, the decades-long tournament was mounted virtually due to the pandemic. Participants have had to send videos showcasing their talent. The judges included persons from the entertainment industry, including agents, managers, casting directors, and record label representatives. WCOPA Team Philippines National Director Jerry Mercado said the Philippines had 76 representatives this year and they came from all over the country. The WCOPA virtual competition was participated in by over 60 countries. There were approximately 2,500 entries from all over the world, of which 155 were entries coming from the Philippines. Overall, the Philippines garnered 156 awards, 19 gold medals, 91 silver medals, and 43 bronze medals. And in sports, volleyball star Eliza Valdez is fierce and sometimes unforgiving to her rivals. But off the court, she is charismatic and generous. Sometimes she's also secretive and funny. In her latest video blog posted on YouTube, the 27-year-old star, known to her fans as Phenom, surprised her parents when she gifted them with a brand new car. The surprise happened with the help of her former Ateneo teammate Bea De Leon while visiting a farm. In the video, Valdez told her parents that they would only be having lunch at a farm. After touring the place with her family, Valdez led her parents to a parking lot where she guided them to a shiny white car. She handed them the car keys to the surprise and delight of her parents. Apart from the surprise, the vlog also showed Valdez petting goats and riding a horse. And for some odd news, the story of the ostriches that ran loose in Quezon City still dominates the social media. In the video posted by Thomas Harlego, they captured on how the barangay officials and some residents of Mapayapa village in Diliman, Quezon City caught not only one, but two ostriches. Also on Facebook, netizen Mark Lawrence Molina Umipig posts a video of one of the ostriches trying to escape the village, but the security guard on duty managed to block the huge bird. But after hours of seizing, the ostriches have been returned to their caretaker. Personnel from the Department of Environment and Natural Resources had conducted an investigation in the area and also had requested a meeting with the owner of the two big birds. If some of you are wondering if taking care of ostriches is even legal, yes it is, under the Republic Act number 9147. And those are the news on Web today, August 5, 2020. For more news and details, get your copy of Manila Bulletin newspaper tomorrow or log on to www.mb.com.ph. I am Barbie Atienza from Manila Bulletin, celebrating its 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. This has been MB Now. Be fully informed.